Let's take you live to this story now. KwaZulu-Natal Premier Sihle Zikalala delivering his State of the Province address at the Royal Showgrounds in Pietermaritzburg. Let's take you there live.
I-Department yakwa-Education already isiyile khona. Ngonjalo, i-Department yakwa-Transport is attending Ndlunkulu kudaba lwe-bridge elakhiwe laphansi lakhiwa kudala. Laphansi uma kufika imvula zihamba ngaphezulu abantwana kube likhuni ukuthi bawele. Siwutholile umyalezo Ndlunkulu sizokulungisa ngokusheshsha. Honorable members, siyafisa uqinisekisa ukuthi umnyango wezokuthutha usuthathe isinqumo ngaphansi ka-MEC Nkonyeni wokuthi sizowabheka wonke lama bridge akhelwa phansi eminyakeni edlule ngoba impilo zabantu abamnyama kwangacatshangwa ukuthi kumele ithuthuke ngaleyo ndlela. So wonke lawo ma bridge umnyango uthatha isinqumo sokuthi uzowalungisa abe phezulu abe sesimeni songade kudluka kumbe kudlula amanzi abe maningi kube ama bridge asebenza futhi asesimeni esikahle. Madam Speaker, at the beginning of this sixth administration after the 2019 general elections, we identified 8 priorities for our province. To remind ourselves, these are the priorities: the provision of water, of basic services, especially water, the creation of jobs, the growing the economy, growing SMMEs and cooperatives, leading education and skills development, human settlement and sustainable livelihood, building a peaceful province, build a caring and incorruptible government. There is an urgency to decisively address unemployment rate, particularly among the youth, women, and vulnerable groups. We must turn the corner to narrow the gap of race and gender-based inequality and poverty. Ours is a vision based on the aspirations of the Freedom Charter, the Reconstruction and Development Plan, the National Development Plan, which is the Vision 2030, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the AU as Africa, the AU Agenda 2063, and our own KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Growth and Development Strategy. Our province is unambiguous about radical economic transformation and the need to level the playing field by bringing back or bringing blacks, especially Africans, into the mainstream economy. We must therefore turn the corner to deliver basic services better and faster. Honorable members, as part of our response to COVID-19, we managed to mount a formidable and highly effective response to the pandemic. These include the reconfiguration of hospitals such as Doris Goodwin, Richmond, Claywood, Dundee, St. Francis, Bethesda, Wentworth, J.C. Crook, and other hospitals on time. We're able to establish 4 field hospitals, mainly Claywood.
Honorable Premier and the House, I am sorry, Honorable Premier. There is an unforeseen eventuality that I am now made to deal with. I want to invoke Rule 3.1 to request the Premier to pause. There's some unforeseen eventuality that I have to deal with now. I am sorry, Honorable Premier.
Nothing Oh, Nawandlovu. Oh, Nawandlovu. Oh, Nawandlovu. Papa Pandakamzi. Yabaga ulalele. Memesayo. Memesa ngathi uyaqala lila. Uthi kulalika jama sikakile. Kuthiwa ngolendala. Yakithwa malandela. Ube sibindi kuthelesi. Akuthazela umntakandaba bemthuka bemcabafula bethi uzelithi nikakubusa bathi kakubankosi kathi bamgoba kuthempepho yakithi wamalandela usothidase inkonyane encane kandaba edidimbala umthukelelo wensizwa phela lamadaba abantu esephelelwa ngamandla umaphophela balonga insizwa esinikinikana ingabenzele izingwe nobe ingonyama gijime ngandlelande ebangaluzuzu yadwa Tata, Okanema Debeleni, no Nimandebele, Sana Kukantelile, and then Abonis Yane, Leslos Kandaba, Otampe Santa, Amakana Matota, Patimona, El Samanela, Eva Kalifuda, Templemili, Eson Kuze, Neso Tugela, Nanimo Kundani, Atale Kotani, Panango, Oh Nawando, Oh Nawando, Ayate.
Wena wendlovu. Wena wendlovu. Bayede.
Honorable Premier and the House, I take this opportunity to thank the House for allowing me to invoke Rule 3.1 without prior notice, and to you, Honorable Premier, for indulging us. Siyabonga Khuzeni, you may proceed.
Bayede. And indlunkulu esisijoyinile. As I was alluding, we had to adopt quick and fast response to COVID-19. We repurposed and established field hospitals, the Claywood, the Royal Agricultural Show, the General Kizenga Mpanza, and Dingwelezane. We achieved this in a matter of months. We commend the department under MEC, Smelane, and the HOD and all others for this work. We will not be going back to old days of doing things, of operating in silos. Learning from the disaster of COVID-19, we will implement in a coordinated manner, avoid fragmentation and mismanagement, as well as misalignment in planning. We will accelerate the adoption of the latest technology and speed up the digitalization of services. In this regard, we call on all municipalities to complete the establishment of the DDM structures so that they will achieve one budget, one plan, which will then be informed by the support of all departments. The administration we want should be driven by high level of performance, measurable and impactful in changing the lives of the people of KwaZulu-Natal. It is against this background that our focal areas for this 2022 State of the Province address will be to fasten and prioritize key areas. And these areas are economic recovery and creation of jobs, improving access to water and sanitation, fight crime and building safer communities, social protection and human development, building a capable state, building a better Africa and a better world. Madam Speaker, we deliver this State of the Province address against the unfolding challenges of our economic growth as worsened by the crisis we have outlined above. Our unemployment rate has now risen to 28.7% from about 23% before the pandemic. The increase in discouraged work seekers continues to add to the figures on a regular basis. Our country's economic structure is the primary cause of this situation, the persistent low levels of economic productivity and a low rate that is driven by a high input cost. Our economy is sadly uncertain with corporate corruption, failure of companies to invest in self-development, lack of sustainable energy generation, instability created by criminal activities of some business forum. All this has been worsened by the lockdown intended to keep citizens safe from COVID-19. To change the status quo, we need major economic reforms anchored on radical economic transformation and greater participation of all people, in particular the blacks in general and Africans in particular, in the mainstream economy of the province. Honorable members, our setback that we have experienced is the closure of the Marathon South Africa, which was launched at the Dube Trade Port in 2019. The company had pledged to invest 1.5 billion and to create 736 jobs in KwaZulu-Natal. Marathon's production commenced in October 2019, but was disrupted in the early part of 2020 owing to COVID-19 pandemic and the hard lockdown. Consequently, the production volumes were impacted and were below target. The Industrial Development Corporation is now undertaking a study to ensure that this company is rescued, and it has already put under the rescue plan. We are disappointed by the decision of SAPREF to indefinitely suspend refinery operations in Durban by the end of March 2022. The announcement came not as long after the Engine Refinery announced a similar decision regarding their operations in Durban. We are of a view that retaining refinery, especially the operations of refineries in our province, is key for economic growth and job creation rather than solely relying on importing refined oil. For that reason, we have called on the national government to buy SAPREF, not only to protect jobs, but to build the capacity of the state. It cannot be that the country will remain dependent on foreign-owned and private conglomerates who are driven by profit motives and owe no loyalty to our developmental agenda. Madam Speaker, we wish to update the people of KwaZulu-Natal that the provincial government has already met with SAPREF, but we have also started engaging with the National Department of Mineral and Energy to work toward taking over the full operations of SAPREF as a state-owned oil company. That is in progress. While above setbacks besieged the provincial economic outlook, not all was doom and gloom on investment attraction in 2021. We are pleased to announce that through the Trade and Investment KwaZulu-Natal, our province attracted investment to the value of 5.3 billion with over 8,554 jobs created. Prominent among these was the Tetra Pak investment of 500 million, which added jobs from 120 at that time to 300 jobs. Will help call center investment of 500 million, which initially created 500 jobs, which will grow to over 2,000 jobs in the next 2 years. The capital BPO investment of 120 million created 500 jobs. Blethdale Coastal Resort, worth 800 million, will be creating 2,000 jobs. The launch by His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa of Toyota South Africa's 2.6 billion investment for the production of Toyota Corolla Cross, which is a hybrid car using electricity and fuel. And this need to be applauded. The fact that Toyota continues to invest in the provincial economy. In another significant show of confidence to our economy, in May 2021, we were excited to be part of the announcement that the Pepco Group has also joined 3 other blue chip companies in the Hammarsdale precinct. Not only is the Pepco Group investing 1.5 billion, but the company is now expanding the business in the very same precinct, which worth more than $1 billion now. In addition, the Akwele Group is investing 300 million, and also Sequence Refrigerations is also making major investment, as it was announced in last year when we visited the park. As recent as this week, our province received good news that the Investec property will be investing more than 6 billion to redevelop the old Coral Brick site north of Durban into a logistic and distribution hub to tap the growing demand for warehousing facilities in the province. The new logistic hub has the potential to create 16,000 jobs. Madam Speaker, to consolidate all these gains, the provincial government has already adopted the export strategy, which aims to facilitate access to the wider African market under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. In this regard, the provincial government, together with the African Import and Export Bank, the African Union and the Secretariat for the African Continental Free Trade Area, hosted an intra-Africa trade fair in 2021 at the Inkosi Albert Luthuli International Convention Center on the 15th to the 21st of November last year. In total, 128 countries were represented in this Africa trade fair, and deals in excess of 400 million were concluded by the KZN-based companies. The province also presented deals at the African Deal Room to the tune of 7.8 billion. And those deals has a potential of creating 80,000 jobs. These will be examined as part of AfriCIN's funding considerations. We are pleased to announce that we will be hosting the KwaZulu-Natal International Investment Conference on the 22nd to the 23rd of March. This will be a build-up to the Presidential Investment Conference, which will be held on the 24th of March. Turning to infrastructure as a key pillar of economic growth, Madam Speaker, the provincial government continues to pursue infrastructure-led development. Transport infrastructure is a catalyst for economic growth, job creation and development. We are pleased to confirm the upgrade of the national network by the SANRAL, which is being driven on a faster pace in the province. The route from Cato Ridge to Dandelnel is estimated at about 1.6 and is already under construction. It's creating more than 1,450 jobs. The route around Linfield Park at a contract value of 15 billion is estimated to create 1,400 jobs. Other work packages are continuing as we plan. This includes the upgrade around the KwaMashu interchange. As we committed in the last SOPA, we're pleased to announce that the 14 Welisizwe bridges are now complete. Communities can now cross safely to access important services, even when there is flooding. This year, we will continue to ensure that the intervention of the Welisizwe Bailey bridges create more jobs, and we are aiming to create additional 11,000 jobs. We welcome the pronouncement in the SONA by His Excellency the President that these bridges will be built again, and they will, as a national department, support this program. In addition to these projects, through the development and the Department of Transport, we have allocated 8.7 billion for construction and maintenance of road infrastructure in the province. Of this, 4.8 billion will go to the maintenance of existing infrastructure, and 3.9 billion is allocated for construction of new projects, upgrade, and other engineering work. These include infrastructure demand.
And we're coming out, we did indicate earlier that we were looking at 3 state of the province addresses. We're coming out of that one from KwaZulu-Natal, where the Premier had to be interrupted a bit, and the Speaker invoking rules that allow her to interrupt the address by allowing the entry of the Zulu King, Mrs. Zulu KwaZulu-Natal.